10:07 on your Tuesday morning, Erev Yom Kippur. Welcome back to the Bernie and Sid Show here on legendary 77 WABC as the Jewish people, my brethren, once again prepare for the holiest day of the year. There is no close second, and that is tomorrow, Yom Kippur. So tonight, a bunch of us will have a early dinner.
As AC/DC plays in the background.
Right. Well, very Jewish band. Early dinner tonight, followed by temple services and no eating, fasting, all that stuff, until sundown tomorrow.
A little nosh here and there, a little something.
Nothing.
Nobody will see.
Nothing.
Nothing for you?
Not even supposed to brush your teeth or have sex. Nothing.
No soup for you?
No.
But listen.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends, they don't adhere to that. Are you one of them?
You mean, so you have Jewish friends that they'll take tomorrow off, for example, but they won't fast and go to temple.
Exactly.
I'm somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yeah, so you'll a couple of, like a granola bar perhaps, and you'll drive by the temple. And you'll bless yourself, whatever you do.
I may even go chicken parmesan. Hero for lunch.
You know what?
No, I'm going to fast tomorrow. And
you really will?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Will you drink water?
I brush my teeth. I mean, it's just disgusting.
Nasty,
I mean, these guys go to temple and they have chronic halitosis anyway.
They don't even shower.
They don't shower. They don't do nothing.
Yeah, but that's that's adhering to your religion. You have to sacrifice.
Listen to me carefully, okay?
Yeah, okay.
The two most hypocritical things, if you will, in life are religion and politics. If we haven't seen that from this Clinton-Trump race, from both candidates, you'll never see it again. Religion's the same way. I say it like this, okay? Do whatever you got to do. Don't worry about what the Bible says, the Torah says, the Quran. Do whatever you got to do to get through the day. How about that?
When you do an eternity for that piece of bubble gum, we'll remember that.
See my toothbrush anywhere? Can't take it no more. So, okay, good. Well, God bless, and Lashana Tova.
Yes.
What does that mean?
That means happy holiday.
Happy New Year.
Good year. Happy New Year,
New
I should
Year.
say.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
Chag Sameach is happy holiday. And of course, tomorrow's the Day of Atonement, too. So, and this is why, this is why I tell you why Jewish people are so riddled with guilt. And I'll tell you why. The Goyim, for example, okay?
That's highly offensive the way you say that.
Yes.
That's Donald Trumpish.
Well, it's meant to be that way.
The blacks.
It's very derogatory. So, I don't want to use you because you're actually a really good guy, but give me an example of a guy who's not Jewish who you think is kind of Donald Trump.
Chris.
Donald Trump.
Whoa, I'm the Nancy O'Dell in this? Why am I getting embroiled in this?
Donald Trump goes out and he's married, and he bangs Nancy O'Dell, okay? Right. Guess what he can do? He can go to confession that night or that day, say, forgive me, Father, I'm a married man, I have sinned. And what does the priest do? Say 30 Hail Marys, and you're good.
Now, see, your ignorance is showing.
Okay.
That is Catholic religion.
Okay, so Catholics.
That's not for...
Not all Christianity, but Catholics.
That's right.
All right.
That's I could do that, but Donald Trump cannot do
Okay. Me, the Jews, if you F up Thursday, the day after Yom Kippur, you've got to wait another 355 days to atone for your sins. So that's why the Jewish people are so guilty. It builds up and builds up. I got to wait almost a full year. You guys can go to confession any time and it's gone.
Well, okay. That's where Jewish guilt comes from?
Yes. I got to wait a full year to atone for my sins.
Yeah, you got 1 day to make it up. We got 40.
Somehow or that, I don't think it weighs on you all the,
That may be a bad example.
Through,
Or you could just forgive yourself, forget about it, and move on.
Right, you could do that. Sure. Right.
Well, listen, we're going to miss you tomorrow, but maybe I can do a Sid imitation.
Tomorrow?
Yeah. I'll try it right now.
Do us both. Do us both, yeah.
Oh, wait a minute.
Wait, hold on. What is that flail by the Chris Russo flail?
I was watching Desperate Housewives with my beautiful wife Danielle, and we had just eaten Chinese food, and my ass was on fire. Oh, my God. I can feel it now. Danielle, I love you.
Oh, my beautiful wife. Oh, that's so good.
That's not bad.
I don't know.
It's not bad.
I'll try that.
You got to do
Trump, what an asshole. There you go. I'll do a whole
show like that tomorrow. That's great.
That's it. I'll play Sid Rosenberg.
You have to.
But we will miss you. We do have a big guest coming.
Yes, Norman Lear will be here tomorrow. I'm
Norman
very
Lear.
upset about that.
He's Jewish.
Yes.
I don't get it.
Well, there's a lot of Jews that don't. Ron Kubi will be here tomorrow.
That's the only day that he would agree to come in.
That's true.
Only on Yom Kippur. That's it.
He says,
that's it.
I'm only coming in if there are no Jews in the building. True to his I guess, irreverent persona with the All in the Family stuff and whatever.
What a great guest. That's going to be, I got to be honest, I'll be listening from home. You and Norman Lear is going to be great tomorrow. Great.
He's promoting, what is he promoting, Flirty?
I forgot. I just saw the name and I'm like, I got to get that guy up here.
Well, listen, first of all, there's this poll out, of course. Donald Trump, the Wall Street Journal, NBC News poll, down 46-35. And that poll reflects after the tape came out, but before the debate.
Right.
So, but still, it looks very bad. And, of course, after the night in which I thought he performed very well, you did not.
No, I said he was fine.
He was fine, okay.
He was much better than the first debate, but he did nothing on Sunday that says, to me, he's put himself back in this race. To me, that is a complete stretch.
The morning after that, Weasel, Paul Ryan, has this conference call with a bunch of Republicans in which he says, listen, all you SOBs, you're on your own out there. Worry about yourselves. Forget about the presidential race. So he pulls a rug out from Trump's victory the night before. So I think Paul Ryan, I don't think he wants Trump to win. I don't think he ever wanted Trump to win.
Of course not. Of course he doesn't. Of course, but I'm going to say this, and he is a coward, and he is a weasel, and all those things. But I'm going to say this. You're not going to want to hear this. Paul Ryan does have his designs on maybe the presidency in 2020. He certainly wants to be a big-time GOP guy. He's not stupid. You see, he left Trump a while ago. Then, when Donald Trump made this a race about a month ago, Paul Ryan came back. Well, today this race is over. You can talk all you want about 28 days. A week is a year in politics. Trump is done. And Ryan knows that. So now, in very cowardly, I agree, weasel fashion, he says, I'm not hitching my car to this loser. And I want to stick around. So he's saying my politics for the party matter more than this candidate. That may bode well for him the party.
Who would want a leader who doesn't want to fight? Who says in the foxhole, listen, I'm out of here.
But let me ask you
You're
this.
on your own.
But let me ask you this. But if Donald Trump represents everything that Paul Ryan doesn't, which he does, why does Paul Ryan have to be okay with Donald Trump?
Listen, they made Trump sign a pledge. They made him sign a pledge of loyalty to the Republicans, et cetera.
Please don't bring that up.
Well, they did.
Because Donald Trump, if he had launched the GOP, would not be out there promoting John Kasich or Marco Rubio. He'd be long gone, Donald Trump.
He's dishonorable, and he's a coward, Paul Ryan. And I like the guy.
I agree that he's a coward, but I'm also telling you, on the other hand, what he's doing is probably smart politically. Why hitch your car to a loser with the possibility of your party, the GOP, going down in flames?
And speaking of dishonorable, Billy Bush, what are they doing to this poor guy?
That ain't right.
He's getting dragged.
I agree.
Dragged through the coals. I mean, the guy was on the bus. What did he say?
He's on the bus.
What did he say?
He didn't say anything. I mean, Donald Trump said all the nasty stuff.
He said, "Hey, how about a hug for little Bushy over here?" He asked the.
Why is NBC like this? Like, why are they so scared?
Well, yeah, why are they such craven, PC?
They've always been. According to reports we heard this morning, though, believe it or not, even though you and I both sympathize with Billy Bush and we both agree NBC's the worst and he should never have been fired, according to reports this morning, Billy Bush brought this upon himself, that he was actually working for NBC at the Olympics in Rio a couple of months ago, and he was the one who started bragging to everybody, hey, I've got a tape with Donald Trump, acts like a real dog. So he brought it to everybody's attention.
He did, yes. He supposedly. There are other rumors out there, but that's one that the Page Six and the New York Post is pushing.
I like the other rumor better, the one we brought up this morning on Imus, the Rita Cosby interview. Tell the folks about that one.
The one where she was interviewing Franklin Graham, who's the son of the great evangelical leader. Anyway, he says that he believes it was a Republican leadership, Paul Ryan and those people, who put this tape out the day before Trump was supposed to appear with Paul Ryan. Actually, it was Jerry Falwell Jr., excuse me. He was supposed to appear with Paul Ryan. So anyway, this is what he told. He did tell that to Rita Cosby, that it was them who did it, and that's more That's a little more juicy and
Very.
conspiratorial.
Very salacious.
But look, but Billy Bush, he said he talked about the actress. He says, "Wow, she's hot as shizzle. All I can see is legs, Donald. Look at that." I mean, gee, what? So anyway, listen to what Nancy O'Dell, who was on that tape, and by the way, the people who put that tape out, they could have easily have edited out the part about Nancy O'Dell. So they're a bunch of creeps to begin with, dragging in this innocent lady. But this is what Nancy O'Dell said yesterday about that tape.
Well, before we get going tonight, I feel that it's very important that I address you all directly. By now, I'm sure that most of you have heard the audio tape, which became national news and part of the presidential race. My name was mentioned, and unfortunately, the release of it has thrown me in the middle of the political arena, of which I didn't ask to be a part.
Stop.
I released a statement on Saturday, and I truly mean what I said. There is no room for objectification of women, or anyone for that matter, not even in the locker room. The conversation has got to change because everybody deserves respect, no matter the gender or setting. And as a mom, well, I have to add that our kids, especially our young girls, need to know that their hard work, their achievements, their intelligence, their heart are most important.
Listen,
those things will
I've got a
not
beautiful
go
wife
unnoticed.
who's an attorney. I've got a daughter who works very, very hard. Here's Nancy O'Dell on the set of ET last night wearing a blouse where half her breast is showing with a long blonde waving hair. Her job is basically to talk about every nasty thing that goes on in Hollywood for 20-something years. And I got to tell you, I feel bad. She doesn't deserve to be mentioned in the conversation. But actually, people watched Nancy O'Dell last night, which they would never do ordinarily.
Right, exactly right. They don't necessarily do so. But any of the women on there are all attractive women.
Of course.
That's what they do. They objectify women. That's what the whole point of the show is, to put on hot babes and talk salacious gossip. And by the way, speaking of objectifying, has anybody listened to FM radio recently? You ever hear some of the lyrics on FM radio? Everybody's all, oh my God, Trump and Billy Bush, objectifying women. Listen to FM radio. It's audio pornography. As Eminem said, investing in your kids' ears and nesting. And that's where it starts. And then kids talk way worse. 12-year-old kids are talking like what you hear Billy Bush say. I
can't stand Donald Trump. I've been over this a million times. I believe he's the worst candidate in the history of the presidency, and he's going to lose. But I'm going to defend him here and say that even though what he said was gross, you said the same thing. Stop. These are people that are looking for a reason to either dislike Donald Trump or dislike him even more. Because with everything he's done in this campaign, and I believe, my opinion is he said some really lousy things. This ain't it.
But poor Billy Bush being collateral damage. Yeah. It's also maybe a personality thing on the Today Show.
Matt Lauer.
They didn't like him.
Matt Lauer. No, NBC actually paid him a ton of money, and moved him from Los Angeles to New York.
I know, but Lauer feels threatened. Al Roker definitely feels threatened. In fact, during the Olympics, Lauer and Bush clashed over the Ryan Lochte interview that Bush did with him. Just listen to this quick clip.
He lied. He lied to you.
Yeah.
He lied to Matt Lauer. Lied to his mom. He left his teammates hanging while he skedaddled.
He certainly lied about some details.
No, he lied. No, Billy.
Some details?
Billy,
There was no robbery.
There was no robbery. There was no pullover. There was nothing. Nobody
no
cocked
gun
a gun
cocked
to his
to his
head.
head.
He lied.
Okay, calm down. Listen.
Relax, formerly Fatso. So there was some tension going.
He looked better fat, by the way.
And he was more likable fat.
Yes.
Too. He's just a sour, bitter son of a bitch who needs a good meal.
Well, I think, I didn't know Al Roker personally. I still really don't. So I can't tell you. Maybe he was a jerk off even when he was fat. But for some reason, we seem to believe when you're fat, you're more jolly. We don't even know that.
Of course you are.
But how do you know that?
Well, look, because you are. You're eating like to your heart's content. You're like a slob. You're eating like a slob. Everything's good. You don't care.
Models' faces.
You're carefree, right? And once you're that way, and then you have to force yourself not to eat. Look at all these people who gain it back. They're
miserable?
They're miserable. They're completely
But when
miserable.
they lose it, like on The Biggest Loser, they seem so happy. They could actually shop in department stores, not carnivals.
If the alternative is the reward is having good hot whatever in the bedroom, I guess that might compensate for it. But I don't think that's the case in
Roker?
In Al's case.
I've seen these guys that he's stuck in his bedroom for like 15 years. He weighs about 1,200 pounds. They got to actually literally chop the top of his house off and get a crane to get him out of there. Those guys never look happy to me.
Well, that's a little extreme.
Oh, okay.
Going all the way.
I mean, Chris, you could tell us. Crash is Crash is at that sweet spot.
Oh, he's a French fry away. He
literally
literally one donut away.
But he shoves it. He's a happy guy. He could literally become
happy.
that guy.
He's not happy. He's miserable.
Calling 911 to get him out of his bedroom.
He's miserable. Trust me. He's got a beautiful wife. He's got great kids. He's got a great job, but he's miserable.
I hope not. But anyway, listen, we have some great guests coming up. Somebody on that conference call with Paul Ryan yesterday.
Very exciting. The congressman himself, Peter King, stopping by in the next couple of minutes. And next hour, your guy, Bill O'Reilly, stopping by.
Yes, Bill O'Reilly has a lot to say about the debate, the election. He's got a great book out called Killing the Rising Sun, How the United States Vanquished Japan Back in World War II. A fascinating read. He's coming up also back on the Bernie and Sid show after this.
77 W. Upload the BS. 77 WABC.
What's your name? Now, he's supposed to look like Donald Trump, but he's actually much too good looking. You are really handsome. Are you having a good time tonight?
No.
Where's your daddy? And your mommy, right? Do you want to go back? Do you want to go back to them, or do you want to stay with Donald Trump?
Trump.
Yeah. That's my kind of lad right there.
Well-trained kid. They said, listen, about the word he says last, you just repeat it, and the kid did it 3 times.
I think it was Peter King's illegitimate son in Pennsylvania.
It was a long night at Jones Beach back in 1977.
On the line with us right now, the aforementioned, one of the great statesmen of this country from Long Island, Congressman Peter King. Good morning, King. Congressman King.
What do you mean, one of the great statesmen?
I know. I'm sorry about that.
The greatest. You are the greatest.
Okay, good. Okay, then we can go ahead then. Okay.
Long live the king, baby. That's what I'm saying.
I was about to walk off the show, but okay, go ahead.
You're going to pull a Paul Ryan? Just get the hell out of here, right? I mean, so you were on that call yesterday. Let's get right to it. That's the big story. Paul Ryan distancing himself from Donald Trump and basically saying, hey, let's worry about the rest of these races because I guess he thinks that Donald Trump is going to lose anyway. You were on the call. What did the call entail?
Well, first of all, let me make it clear. I am supporting Donald Trump, and I'll continue to support him. That's number one.
Right.
Number two.
Way to go.
Yeah, there's really 2 parts to the call. When Paul came on first, he said that he would not be defending Donald Trump and he would be campaigning just for House candidates. And basically said, you have to do what you have to do. And then when about 10 minutes later, it was opened up to questions. And I would say 9 out of 10 or 7 out of 8 of the questions said that we should not be backing away from Donald Trump. And then Paul came back on and said, well, let me make it clear. I'm not withdrawing my endorsement. I still endorse him. I'm just not going to be campaigning. So he sort of softened it a bit. I was pleasantly surprised by the number of Republicans, and these would not be considered far right or not be considered overly partisan or in that category, who basically said that it hurts us to back away from Donald Trump. For one thing, whatever you said in the tape, and it was indefensible, but that was 11 years ago, and Donald Trump never said he was ahead of the moral majority. He never said that he was without sin. And if you were supporting Donald Trump up till Friday, to me, that tape should not have caused you to turn away from Donald Trump. If you were against him from the start, fine. If you were basing everything on a certain moral litmus test, that's fine. But what it looks like is guys just running because there was a weekend of bad news, and you had guys abandoning Trump before he even had a chance to explain himself, and you're up against a candidate who certainly has a lot of her own questions to answer. And if you look at it, if we really care about who's going to be on the Supreme Court, if we really care about not being politically correct, about supporting the cops and rebuilding the military, is an 11-year-old tape enough to elect someone who's against us in all of those really life-defining issues? And so I think it hurts us. I think the average voter, when they see somebody walk away, there are issues of conscience, and I think voters can tell when a guy is doing it out of conscience or doing it just to cover himself. But if somebody was sort of standing with Trump when he was going up in the polls, and suddenly they see this guy, this woman run away when the polls start to go bad or when the media circus gets too much, I think they're going to end up, first of all, not picking up Democrat or independent votes, and they're underestimating how strong the Trump faction is within the Republican Party.
And plus, they're giving the middle finger to the people who voted for Donald Trump, elected him as our nominee to run for them. And listen, I wouldn't want to be in a foxhole with Paul Ryan and the rest of these bravehearts. But my question to you, Congressman King, is: do you think this conference call yesterday came the morning after what I consider was a stellar performance by Trump at the second debate? And it sort of stole Trump's thunder from that victorious debate. Do you think Ryan and these so-called establishment Republicans, they actually want Trump to lose?
No, some may. Not Paul. Listen, Paul Ryan's a good guy. He's been very good as far as helping New York with the Droga Act. He was the guy that got it through for us. He also did get the Jester bill through, which enables 9/11 families to sue Syria. I think he was hearing so much from people within the party, and as the speaker, he's got to try to keep everything together. And he said, "Okay, my main job is to reelect Republicans." But I think a lot of these other guys who are complaining to Paul Ryan, a lot of these guys who are nervous, I think they just hurt themselves. And again, listen, there's a certain amount of hypocrisy here when I hear people on television, including reporters, who, God, these guys can be real lowlifes. And they're on there. I never heard language like this. I never heard anyone talk like this. Listen, the language is bad. It's indefensible. But, you hear it, whether it's an army barracks, whether it's the back room of a TV studio, whether it's, congressmen sitting around a bar at night. And from what I understand, I spent the weekend going around the district at bagel shops, diners, talking to people in shopping centers. Went to Giulio Cesare restaurant up in Carl Place on Saturday night, and I was struck by the number of people who said, listen, what this guy said was wrong. What the hell's wrong with him? But we're not voting for her. I don't know if these guys who bailed out on Trump were talking to real people or they were just watching MSNBC. But
there is that thought out there, that mentality that some of these establishment Republicans would rather have Hillary Clinton win than Donald Trump and then go for it in 2020. And so you don't think that any of them want him to lose?
No, some may. Yeah, some may. Some guys never liked Trump. Listen, I had problems with Donald Trump. Sid was giving me a hard time for not supporting Trump earlier on, but I'm there. No, but listen, to me, when it's between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump is clearly the better candidate. If you're a true conservative Republican, he's the candidate. Secondly, as you get to know him, you realize there are two Donald Trumps as far as personality. But apart from all that, no, there are people in the party who they resent the style, they resent the fact that even though he may have conservative positions, he doesn't act like the button-down Republican businessman. They would love to have guys come in who act very starchy and very aloof and very sophisticated. Trump is too much like, with all his money, he's still too much like the kid on the Queen Street corner. He's too New York for them.
Well, Peter, obviously that I'm not voting for Trump and never would. In fact, I think he's the worst candidate ever. But I am with you guys. I think this is ridiculous. I think there's a lot to be upset about with Donald Trump, and it ain't this. Because, what he said was, like you said, and Chris Christie said this morning, indefensible. But so what? Come on. He's going up against a lady whose husband allegedly raped somebody. So in the end, this seems kind of ridiculous. But with that said, okay, Paul Ryan, maybe there's a method to his madness, and that is he's worried about the future of your party. Here are the facts, Peter. He's going to lose Trump in a month. He's going to go back and do TV and build buildings, and he's not going to care. But your party may be in danger. So two questions. If he does lose, are you worried about the future of your party? And secondly, are you really worried you may lose the House?
Yeah, listen, we have to be concerned about that. I'm just saying, first of all, I think Paul Ryan was reacting to a lot of pressure from within the Republican Party. He has a different responsibility than I do. He has to worry about 246 Republicans. He's got to try and keep people together. So I understand where Paul is coming from. But as far as the other Republicans, I think that when people look at you and they see you cut and run, that's going to cause us to lose more votes, I believe. We're going to end up having people are going to be voting for Hillary Clinton. And once they get on the top of the ticket, there's going to be a certain percentage going to stay on that Democratic line, and they're going to get down and vote against Republicans. Others, the Trump people in the party, and there's a sizable percentage of them, feel here's a guy who won the primaries, he won the nomination, and now you guys are walking away from him, make him believe it's because the tape. Now, whether it's the tape or not, the impression of a lot of Trump people is that people are using this as an excuse to get away. I think it's good politics and it's good government to stick with your nominee unless it's something that's so outrageous that you can't handle it. I don't think that this tape reaches that level, and I think people see through it, and I think these guys is running. if they don't have the guts to stand and fight, why elect them?
Do you think that there's a chance, I know this sounds crazy, that the real loyal Trump supporter is so pissed at Paul Ryan, Peter, and your party, that he or she votes for Trump and then goes Democrat the rest of the ticket?
That is a real risk, absolutely, yeah. And that's why this could be a civil war, because they look upon it as, okay, Republicans go against Trump, okay, then we're going to go against Republicans. Both sides are wrong in doing that. I mean, it's like, the old expression your mother said, biting off your nose to spite your face. But that really is what this is about. And if we're serious about what we believe in, you try to make the best of it between now and Election Day. And I don't write Trump off. I'll tell you why. Her unfavorables are still high. If he can put together a good 4 weeks, this can be won. It's underlined.
Yes.
I mean, I really do. So I'm not writing it off at all. And he, I thought, put on a masterful performance on Sunday.
Thank you. Keep hope alive, says Peter King. Now, and by the way, yes, the Democrats, Ted Kennedy, he left a woman to drown, and he ran away. And of course, Bill Clinton molested an intern in the Oval Office. And the Democrats rallied around them, and Ted Kennedy went out to run for president. For God's sakes, if you have one weekend from some stupid audio tape, you go running for the hills. I mean, what does that say about you? You're 100% right. But you just mentioned Trump at the debate. He had a masterful performance. I agree with you 100%. What did you think about, of course, Hillary Clinton says, well, they go low, we go high. Well, she brought up Alicia Machado. They brought out this tape, the Washington Post, and they were in lockstep with Hillary Clinton. And Trump brought in the sexual assault victims of Bill Clinton. What did you think of that move, Congressman King?
Yeah, and that's what the double standard is. Everyone's saying it's the worst thing that Trump can do. He's going to turn off all the women in America if he brings in women who claim that they were attacked by Bill Clinton. Why is it okay for them to be parading around a former Miss Universe and talking about her, and yet it's wrong?
Well, can I stop you for a second? It's not a matter of, Peter, what's okay and what's not. It's a matter of what's going to get Donald Trump votes, and whether you or Bernard want to believe it or not, women don't like him. So even though it's not fair and it's not okay, he's got to play by a different set of rules, and sometimes things like that do hurt him.
But on Sunday night, considering where he was at, I think it was something he had to do to stop the hemorrhaging, because the media coming at him, and also what it did was it really kept Hillary quiet. She couldn't go after him after that first shot she took at him, and he went back at her. That took that issue off the table for the rest of that debate. So remember, coming into this, is Donald Trump going to resign? Is Donald Trump going to be overthrown by the Republican National Committee? Is Mike Pence going to leave the ticket? Is Donald Trump, can he stay in the race? And suddenly, after about 15 minutes of the debate, that issue was off to the side, and we were talking about energy, we were talking about taxes, we were talking about ISIS, and it became a real debate. And I think he had to use his own shock tactics to turn that around.
Hey, Congressman King on with Bernie and said, listen, we're out of time, Congressman. You're a stand-up guy, a foxhole friend, standing by Trump when he's down, which is when it counts. And by the way, we missed you at the Irish Day Parade out in Long Beach a week and a half ago. I didn't see you. I'm
not the congressman there anymore. I don't want to be interloping.
You're still an Irish guy. Come on, you come down. People come from Westchester County to go to that thing. But listen,
let me tell you, I may be defending Donald Trump, and I'd have a hard time defending Sid, though. I tell you, I don't know.
Without a doubt.
Okay, that'd be tough. That'd really be pushing.
No matter what kind of foxhole. Listen, Congressman King, we love you. Thank you for coming on with the Bernie and Sid show.
Excellent job as always.
Bill O'Reilly's up next on Bernie and Sid after this.
Exclusively. Bernie and Sid. 77 WABC.
Back on the Bernie and Sid show on 77 WABC. Let's get right to it. We got a stellar, big time, a heavy hitter on the line with us right now. He is the author of the brand new book. It's now a New York Times bestseller, and it is fantastic. I read it twice. Killing the Rising Sun, How America Vanquished World War II Japan. It's Bill O'Reilly on the line with us from his chopper as he comes in from Long Island. Bill, can you hear us?
Hey guys, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm hanging in.
Hey, listen, Bill, the book is absolutely such a great read. I hate to say it about such a horrendous event, which is the dropping of the bomb on Hiroshima, but it's a fun read. I mean, it's
entertaining in the sense that you want to keep turning the pages, see what happens next. And that's the formula that we put together with all 6 killing books, that we teach you a lot. There's a lot of factual information, but it's fun to read.
And I'd like to ask you a couple more questions about it. But if you don't mind, Bill, as I sit here with my partner, Sid Rosenberg, I'd like to get into a little political conversation with you right now.
Sure.
Now, listen. Yesterday, of course, Donald Trump had what I thought was a stellar performance at the second debate Sunday night.
Could you stop right there and ask Bill what he thinks so? Because Bernard thought he had a stellar performance. I think that is a gross exaggeration. I thought he did what he had to do to stop the bleeding. He was certainly much better than he was the first time, but to call it stellar, I think is a gross exaggeration. What did you think?
Well, I'm going to forego the adjectives and just say that Trump actually kept himself in the race. So that was an achievement. I think that's a fair assessment. It was an achievement because he was reeling, and Hillary Clinton could have knocked him out, but did not. So that by that standard, you'd have to say that the performance, he won. He won the debate, which is what I said last night on The Factor, because he lives to fight another day. And that's what it is for Trump. He can't win. If the election were held this week, he would lose. All right, everybody knows that,
right?
Except Trump, but everybody else knows that he'd lose. The election was held this week, but Hillary Clinton has two things going against her. Number one, her support is thin, so people really don't like her. If Hillary Clinton is elected president, she will be the most unpopular president-elect in history. Nobody has ever been more unpopular personally than she in our nation's voting ever.
Highest untrustworthy.
You can say the same for both of them.
So she's limping to the finish line. Right. And the second thing is that with this WikiLeaks hacking business, you just don't know if there's anything else, as you don't know with Trump on the crazy stuff that he said in the past. Don't know in the next 4 weeks what's going to come out. So that Trump saved himself in the debate, and that was a significant win for him.
So on your show, Bill, the brilliant Charles Krauthammer predicted while we're on the debate that Donald Trump would go nuclear with the Bill Clinton stuff and the Hillary, smearing Bill Clinton's victims and all of that stuff. And he ended up bringing in a bunch of women who were victimized allegedly by Bill Clinton. What'd you think of that move? Do you think that was effective and that helped him rattle Hillary during the debate?
I don't think it rattled Hillary Clinton, but it deflects some of the intense criticism away from Trump. So that's what that did. He uses these women as a shield to say, okay, I did this tawdry stuff, yeah, but look at this. Now, the American voter, is that going to sway their vote one way or the other? No. But Trump needed us to shield. He needed a shield to stop the incoming, and that's why he used those women.
Bill, I feel like for 2 months now, the Trump supporters are counting on what you just spoke about. Maybe there's something else in WikiLeaks. Maybe there's something out there. Left to his own devices, Bill, which is to go at the issues with Hillary or any substance. He can't win. He didn't win Sunday either, in my estimation. So it seems like Trump supporters are hoping and praying and wishing there's something really salacious out there that's going to knock Hillary out of the race. That is not exactly a confident approach with 28 days to go. Wouldn't you agree?
It would be if Trump was a stronger candidate. But because he's not, you're right in the sense that he can't win by demonizing Hillary anymore. She's already demonized to the extent that people have decided. There's not a lot of people that are on the fence about Hillary Clinton. But in order to remain competitive, and after the polls come out, I think this week, you'll see them on Thursday. I predicted last night on The Factor that Trump will be down by 6. Now that's a big deficit in 4 weeks to make up. But it's not impossible. So you got to understand that Trump had the only chance he has is to stay in the race and basically say to the American people, if you elect her, she's going to take this country in a direction that's going to adversely affect you. And that's the theme. It's not like I have a better vision about Syria or I have a better vision on the economy. You know, people, I don't know if they pay attention so much to that. But he's going to say she's going to hurt you. Your whole life is going to be upside down because she's going to put in activist judges on the Supreme Court. That's mean we're going to have a crazy progressive society. She's going to sell you out. The economy is going to go down a drain. So it's fear. And he's got 4 weeks to invoke fear. So I have him on tonight. This is the first interview he's doing after the debate. He's coming on The Factor tonight.
Wow.
And I think that you're going to see that tactic. He's going to pivot away from himself, what he's going to do, into she's going to kill the country, so she's dangerous to you. That's what I think you're going to see.
So we have Big Bad Bill O'Reilly on the line with us here on the Bernie and Sid Show, the author of the book Killing the Rising Sun, How America Vanquished World War II Japan, a fantastic book, and also a movie coming out Sunday night based on another book that Bill wrote, Killing Reagan, on Nat Geo, 8 p.m. Sunday night. So, Bill, back to my original question, where I was going, which was that the morning after Trump's, let's say, successful performance at the second debate, Paul Ryan pulls this stunt where he has this conference call, and he sort of steals Trump's thunder, pulling the rug out from under his victory from the night before, what I perceived as a victory. Do you think Paul Ryan and these guys, do you think they actually want Trump to lose?
No, I don't think they want him to lose, but I think that they believe he will lose. So the calculation is built on the Republican hierarchy pretty much says he's going to lose. So now we have to limit the damage. Ryan doesn't want to lose the House. So therefore he's saying, look, you guys have to do what's best for you. Forget about the top of the ticket, because Ryan thinks Trump's going to get trumped.
Well, I mean, whatever happened to fighting for you? I mean, the chips are down.
That you can't fight. You can't fight, all right, if you don't have any ammo. And a lot of people have come to the conclusion that after this tape, American women are so disgusted that he can't win. So they're out of ammo. And that's the calculation.
Yeah, I'm with you. And it's obvious, too, that he doesn't want him to lose because a couple of weeks ago, when, in fact, Bill and Bernard, Trump evened this thing up, maybe even took a slight lead, Ryan was okay with Trump, and only after this tape was released, and it's obvious he's not going to win, has Paul Ryan again jumped off. So when things are going well for Trump, Paul is okay with it. Now he feels like it's desperation time. I got to get away.
Yeah, but nobody really cares about Ryan. I mean, he'll hurt Trump in Wisconsin, which was in play for a little while, but isn't anymore. And that's the thing. I mean, if you look at the Electoral College map, it's impossible for Trump to win Wisconsin and Michigan now, and almost impossible for Pennsylvania. So when people say, well, he's going to make a comeback, unless there's something on Hillary Clinton's side, which there could be. All right, so that's the thing. They're all saying, okay, the next bomb is going to be against her. And if that bomb comes, then Trump could win.
That's the only way. But I want to ask you something that we just asked Peter King moments ago, Bill, and that is, I think Trump is going to lose. Okay, he'll go back and he'll do TV, he'll build buildings, he'll be fine. But he's leaving the GOP in shambles in the midst of a civil war. Paul Ryan's running away from it. So with 2020 4 years away, Bill, how much damage do you think Trump will end up doing to the GOP? Is there a future for the GOP?
Well, it all has to do with the economy. So if Hillary Clinton wins and she comes in and the economy continues its slow growth, then it doesn't really matter because people will say enough with the Democrats. And then the Republican, you'll see this resurgence. But they have to have, a charismatic candidate. They have to come up with some new people to run. And that was a problem. That Trump never should have won the nomination. He did it on chutzpah and he did it on showbiz because the others were so, mediocre. I guess that's the best word.
And plus, they were insiders. He's the outside guy, and that's what people wanted.
If they had any charisma at all, they could have parried him.
Yes.
But none of them did. I mean, Marco Rubio, I thought he would. But he's sweating up there and repeating himself and... I'm going, wait a minute, you got to be able to handle yourself, and none of them could.
They were exposed. There was this, a bunch of great governors and senators, and he vanquished 16 great people, and you're exactly right, Bill O'Reilly. They were exposed as mediocre candidates. In this setting, in fact, they were lousy.
Yeah. And so that's what the Republican Party needs more than anything else is a Ronald Reagan. You know, when you watch the movie Killing Reagan on Sunday night, I'll give you a little plug, it's on the National Geographic channel at 8 o'clock. You'll see Tim Matheson, the actor who plays Reagan. You'll see how much charisma that Reagan had, personal charisma, and how he was able to convince people who didn't even like the Republican Party to vote for him and to like him and to support him. You don't have that on the Republican side, and you don't have it on the Democratic side either, although Bernie Sanders brought a little of that. But Bernie's so crazy that he couldn't, he'll never get elected, but he brought a little bit of that charisma in, and that's what the Republican Party needs if they want to come back, a charismatic leader.
Bill O'Reilly on with Bernie and said one more question before we get to the book. Bill, at the debate the other night, Donald Trump got off a great line. He really had the audience laughing, and I'm going to play it and ask you for your reaction. The way the media spun it afterwards. Listen to the exchange right here.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
Now, the media could not stand the fact that he got off a Lloyd Benson-like, almost Ronald Reagan-like line at that point. So they did their best to pick it apart and compare him to Hitler and Stalin and Banana Republic dictators. So the media, again, playing a big part in an election, trouncing a Republican. And I know you have some thoughts about that yourself.
Well, Krauthammer and I debated that last night. It was one of the best debates that we've had on a factor in months. Now, Krauthammer took that side that it was unseemly for Trump to say that, and I took the side that, hold it, millions of Americans believe that this FBI investigation was bogus, and that the director of the FBI, Comey, who I once respected, succumbed to political pressure, perhaps as high as the White House. We can't have that in this country. So I wasn't offended by Trump saying that. I mean, he always goes over, I'll put you in jail. He can't put anybody in jail. But he can certainly open an investigation to see if there was any corruption into it. So that's what it was all about. Now, the reason the press got hysterical is because the press hates Trump. It's not a matter of that they're supporting... Yeah, we all know they're liberal. 80% of the national press is liberal. Everybody knows that. But it's not this time around a matter of, well, we want liberal people in there. They hate Trump personally. They hate him. They think that he's a vulgarian, a barbarian, that he's an intellectual deficient, and they're just appalled that he's even in this position. So it's a whole different ballgame. So anything that he says authoritarian, they're going to say, oh, he's Hitler, he's Stalin. Let me break it to you gently. Hitler and Stalin didn't put political opponents in jail. They killed them.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, it was much quicker the other way. So when I see this crazy stuff, I just roll my eyes. It's so phony.
Well, to even move this more forward, Bill, before we get to the great book, Killing the Rising Sun, the Washington Post did a big story yesterday that you've got some names. There's no audio here. There's no smoking gun other than the people that you know in the business, that you've got some names of people that were told by major networks, if in fact they are somewhat nice to Donald Trump, they run the risk of getting fired. Is that true?
Yes.
Will you give us one name right now?
Come on.
No.
If I give you the initials, will you say yes or no?
I'm not going to do it. I will tell you that I know personally of 3 media organizations that have leadership people, who have made it quite clear that anyone working in these organizations who would support Donald Trump are not welcome to continue working there.
Wow.
And this comes from people who work there.
Wow. Oh, that's a big deal.
But it's not right for me because these people won't come on and say it, and I don't use anonymous sources. So it's not right for me. It would be morally wrong for me to say this company, this company, this company.
Yeah.
When
New York
I'm getting
Times.
it from a person who's not willing to say it with their face. And I understand why they're not, because they get fired. I got it. But I can't do that as an honest journalist. I can't assassinate a person or a company unless I have a primary source willing to step up.
Bill, one more thing about the show. We laughed hard last week. We really did. This is not sucking up to you or Jesse. We happen to like Jesse Waters a lot, but we laughed hard last week at his bit in Chinatown. He's getting killed for that. In fact, there was even a town hall in Chinatown yesterday. Seems like these folks are out there to try to get him fired maybe at this point. What are your thoughts on the backlash for Jesse Waters?
As I told Chris Wallace on Sunday, we ran that piece. More than 5 million people saw it on the day it ran. We had less than 10 negative emails and no phone calls to FNC. None. Then all of a sudden, 36 hours later, we get this barrage, and the wording was almost exactly the same from all these left-wing websites. Almost exactly the same. Okay? So we know it was a coordinated attack. The week before, Waters had gone to the San Gennaro Festival in Little Italy and done pretty much the exact same
exactly
thing.
Right.
Having gentle fun with an ethnic crew.
Of course.
And it was gentle. I mean, come on. So if these people, they live their life in a perpetual state of grievance. That being said, I looked at the piece afterward, after this, and I would have edited it a little bit differently. And I told Waters, but nobody's perfect. But the intent of the piece was gentle fun. And so if you're going to, take it and everybody gets fired, Waters was on last night. He's not getting fired. And we're not, you're
not going to Billy Bush him.
A program that is not politically correct. But we don't want to offend anybody and we don't want to diminish anybody. So we did look at it and we did discuss it.
Nice. It's sort of analogous to the media manufactured outrage with the Redskins. They, all this ringing of heads.
We're not outraged, believe me.
And then they do a poll
if they were, we would have heard about it.
They do a poll of Native Americans, and 95% of them don't give a crap about it. It's all media, online, website manufactured nonsense. Now, the book, Bill O'Reilly, Killing the Rising Sun, How America Vanquished World War II in Japan. As you said, a very, very entertaining read. Everything from the beginning of the war to a story about the ship that took the bombs out to the Pacific, dropped the bombs off, and then was torpedoed, and the men languished in the water for days with sharks attacking them. The book is so very, very entertaining. And you told us, you told Mr. Imus why you wrote the book. Why don't you tell us, please?
Well, I wrote the book because of Reverend Wright, Obama's former preacher who, after 9/11, justified the attack on us by saying, hey, we dropped the bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima, so we're getting what we deserve. When I heard that, my head snapped back, and I said, someday I'm going to write that wrong. And this book writes that wrong. It details exactly what the Japanese did, and it's horrendous. It is horrendous.
Yeah,
it's on par with the Third Reich.
Absolutely.
And exactly how brave Americans were. Remember, these Marines and Navy people were 18, 19, 20 years old going into Iwo Jima and Okinawa. All right? How brave they were, what they had to overcome, and then finally, what Truman had to decide. So it's a real compelling book. It sold more than 500,000 copies in less than 4 weeks. So we're really rolling on it.
And also, in the book, you point out a couple of former presidents said that it was the right thing to do, George Herbert Walker Bush and others. But President Obama recently went to Hiroshima, and he never admitted, he never said that the bomb saved lives, almost like it was a tacit admission that we did wrong.
Almost an apology tour, really. Almost.
I don't know if you recall
that. I asked all the 5 living presidents to write me a personal letter about whether they would have dropped the bomb. 3 of them did, the 2 Bushes and Jimmy Carter. And they say they would have for various reasons you can read in the book. Obama did not write me because I don't believe he would have dropped the bomb.
Right.
I just don't believe he would have. Bill Clinton didn't write me because his wife's running for president. He didn't want a controversy. I do believe Clinton would have. So there we go.
Well, listen, Bill O'Reilly, the book is fantastic. Killing the Rising Sun, How America Vanquished World War II Japan. A good read, an easy read, an edifying read, and also the show Killing Reagan, Sunday night on Nat Geo, 8 p.m., movie based on the book that Bill O'Reilly read. Bill, thank you for appearing on Bernie.
Listen,
guys,
great job.
Me, and I appreciate it.
Looking forward to Donald Trump tonight. Thank you, Bill.
All right, back on Bernie and Sid after this.
We love Big Ben. Big Ben's a friend of mine. Big Ben's great. We play golf together. He once hit a shot that went dead right into a tree. It was a massive tree like this. The ball hit the tree so hard, I swear, I said, Ben, within 2 years that tree is going to be dead. And you know what? 2 years later, I shouldn't say this because we have a lot of tree lovers here. But 2 years later, that tree was dead. He is a strong guy, and he's a good guy, too. Big Ben.
Yeah, back on Bernie and Sid on 77 WABC. That was Donald Trump talking about Ben Rapisberger.
Again, just idiotic. His worst enemy. His own worst enemy.
Not exactly a guy you want to be invoking.
Well, he's in Pittsburgh, right? So he's like, hey, I want to really...
Yep, I know.
I want to make the Pittsburgh crowd love me. What the moron doesn't understand is he's getting his ass...
Easy with the moron.
He's a moron.
He's my guy.
He's a moron.
He's my guy.
You got to get the rest of the country behind you. So he's worried about the people in Pittsburgh who are big Steeler fans loving Ben Roethlisberger when the rest of the country really believes, including me, that Ben Roethlisberger got away with at least assault.
Hate Ben Roethlisberger.
I know you do.
I call him Rapisberger at every turn. He was a effing lowlife piece of garbage who took advantage and almost raped that girl. There's no question about it.
There were two. Remember, there was one in Lake Tahoe, and there was one in a bar.
I know, in the bathroom.
Right.
In the bathroom.
That's right.
It was absolutely disgusting, loathsome. It was worse than what Derrick Rose did.
Yeah, because it was more than one occasion.
And he had his body people trap her in the bathroom
in the stall
as he went in there while she was intoxicated. So that's why every time the Steelers play, I mean, I hope for a Lawrence Taylor, Joe Theismann incident to occur to Ben Rapisberger because he got away with that crap.
Pretty good quarterback, though.
Yeah, and if you played for the Jets, you'd be all over it, wouldn't you? Oh, no, you're
I'm a Giant fan.
That's right, yeah.
And
But
don't forget.
Okay, a Giant.
Well, he was in the same draft. There were three quarterbacks taken in the same draft. Phillip Rivers, who they traded to the Giants for Eli Manning, and Ben Roethlisberger. I'm here to tell you that Roethlisberger is the best quarterback of those three. So I'd probably root for the guy, but like you, I think he's a scumbag.
So Governor Christie was on ESPN radio with Mike and Mike this morning. He was asked if Trump's apology was sufficient, and this is what he said.
I didn't think it was, and I, on Friday or Saturday, and I told him that. On the video itself, let's be really clear, it is completely indefensible, and I won't defend it and haven't defended it.
I mean, that seems like a lukewarm defense.
That's what I think
of our guy.
Well, he did say, I'm still endorsing him. What he said was this. So you didn't play the second part, but he said, listen, there are much bigger issues out there. You've got immigration, you've got ISIS, you got the war. So he's still behind Donald Trump with all the important stuff, which is really what you want to hear. And by the way, which is what Donald Trump should use, as Bill O'Reilly said, the next 28 days to win the candidacy. But in the end, he did not exactly give him a very warm endorsement.
No, what's up with that?
Christie?
Yeah. Mr.
Well, he's done.
I mean, without Donald Trump, Governor Christie has nothing going for him. He's done with the job as governor.
Right.
I don't know. Is that this year? No, it's next year.
Next year.
Next year, or maybe the year after, whatever it is. After that, he's got nothing. His popularity ratings in New Jersey are squat.
Sports talk radio. He's actually pretty good at that.
He could join ESPN, I guess.
Arby's commercials.
Christie 2020.
Oh, stop it! Christie's political career is dead. Dead.
He doesn't care anymore because he got he took off the lap band.
Right.
And
he's getting fat again. You don't care.
He's doing the hucklebuck all over Trenton in the governor's mansion.
If he really thought in his heart of hearts that Trump was going to win, just being honest here, he may have been a little more strong. Yeah. Right? I mean, do you agree with that?
He should have been. He should have been no matter what.
All right.
I mean, let's a little loyalty and a little honor would be nice.
Well, Bill O'Reilly kind of played that down with you, though. He was like, hey, listen, there's no ammo here. So Bill O'Reilly wasn't.
Bill O'Reilly's he's not an advocate. He tries to play it straight, and he's analyzing it. He's not saying, but I'm saying to Paul Ryan and these guys, you fight. I mean, look, Ted Kennedy, he drowned a woman and then swam away from the scene.
Yeah.
And Bill Clinton raped women, and the Democrats rallied around them successfully.
But all you're doing is repeating what I said to you 9 months ago, that while the Republican Party is fractured, there's a civil war. You can't win. First of all, it's very difficult for a Republican to win the way the Electoral College is set up anyway. And with all of Hillary's warts, you don't hear any people in that party coming out and ripping her. And all they do, this has been going on with Trump for months. It makes his job doubly as difficult. So when you get really realistic about his chances of winning, They don't really exist.
No, I know the chances are, but that's when the test is. That's when you're tested. That's when men are tested. That's when being in the foxhole counts.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not when
You're right.
you have all the artillery blazing and victory is imminent. It's when defeat is looming, and you got to pull yourself up by whatever the hell.
But you would obviously, if Trump loses, he's done with politics. Ryan's not. So, what do you think happens with Ryan in a couple of years?
Oh, he'll be okay. He'll be a congressman. He's going to win handily in his own district. He's going to be fine.
Do you think he would get enough support to come back in 2020 and maybe run again?
If he comes out smelling like the little cowardly, disloyal weasel that he's coming off as now, he has no. As far as national politics, he's done.
He's done.
He's doomed.
Let me ask you this.
Trump has he's given a middle finger essentially to all the Republican voters who voted for Donald Trump.
I don't disagree. But I would ask you this. If it's Ryan versus, let's say Clinton's going to win, she runs a second term. So now you're faced with this choice in 2020.
Okay, Hillary versus Ryan.
Hillary versus Paul Ryan.
You're making my head explode, for God's sakes.
But what do? Do you go back and go, I can't vote for this guy? He put the middle finger up to my party. He may have pushed it.
I worry about that during the primary.
Okay.
That's what I do.
But let's say he wins.
One step at a time.
Let's say he wins.
They teach you that in certain programs. You take it 1 hour, 1 day, 1 minute, one step at a time.
I've been to all of them.
I'm not going to go down that route.
I'm aware.
And it's just too
But
overwhelming.
Speculation is so much fun, isn't it?
I guess.
Maybe not in this case.
You've heard this Robert De Niro, who's no rocket scientist. You heard what he said about...
He may not be a rocket scientist, but he's the best actor of our generation.
Yeah, well...
But he got very nasty with Trump, yes.
The word is he's very difficult to work with. He's like a raging ace-hole
diva
on the set. But anyway, this is what he said about Donald Trump.
I mean, he's so blatantly stupid. He's a punk. He's a dog. He's a pig. He's a con, a mutt who doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't do his homework, doesn't care, thinks he's gaming society, doesn't pay his taxes. He's an idiot. He's an embarrassment to this country. It makes me so angry that this country has gotten to this point, that this fool, this bozo, has wound up where he has. He talks how he wants to punch people in the face. Well, I'd like to punch him in the face.
Good. I like that.
He went from raging bull to raging douche.
I don't know. I kind of thought it was great.
When
Jimmy Conway, they're good fellas.
Right, you can tell by listening to him that the roles he plays, they're not a stretch. He's essentially just being himself.
That's him. So what are you getting mad at him for?
Because he's busting on my boy. I think Clint Eastwood would kick his ass in a one-on-one, mano a mano.
No way.
Without a doubt.
De Niro will call Pesci over. He'll call, Henry, Ray Liotta. Some of the stuff he said is uncalled for and way over the top.
Clint
Some of it's
Eastwood
true.
would get Zippy the Chimp or whoever the hell he worked with back in the day.
Oh, those are great movies. Every Which Way But Loose. Yes, I remember it well.
So, Robert De Nitwit.
Now he's far and away my favorite actor. See, I had him and Pacino very close to like a 1 and a 1A and a 1B. Now De Niro's my favorite by far.
I heard,
and Chaz Palminteri feels the same way.
I heard things. I heard people don't like him so much. That's what I heard. I heard they don't like him so much on the set. Let's go to Bobby from Harlem. Bobby, you're on with Bernie and Sid on WABC. Good morning, Bobby.
Good morning to you guys. Love your show. I hope I can make a couple of points. I do have to tell you something. It's really exposed the spinning that the media is doing, because the view that I took in terms of Trump's performance basically ended with this. He was stellar in terms of the heat that was going at on with the tape being revealed, the way he handled himself. I'm here to tell you that if I was in a situation where a panic scene is going on, Trump would be the man I'd want and depend upon to get me out of that.
No doubt.
He handled it masterfully.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, Bobby. 100%. Yes. Under enormous pressure at that debate, he handled it beautifully. Like he couldn't have handled it better, I don't think. I mean, the staged press conference with the ladies before punking the press. before the debate and rattling Hillary. I thought, I know Sid disagrees, and Bill Clinton bug-eyed, looking like he just saw Vince Foster walk in the room, for God's sakes. I thought it was brilliant myself.
Well, I thought he did rattle Bill. O'Reilly agreed. I did not think he rattled Hillary. O'Reilly agreed. I don't want to. Bill O'Reilly is I'm not like Donald Trump or Bernie Sanders. Could he name him one more time? Bernie Sanders says this. What you're doing is you're qualifying his effort, which all it does is make me right, which is under the immense pressure with the possibility of his campaign dying. So all I said all along was the expectations are much lower for Donald Trump. There's always a qualifier. If, in fact, everything was equal going into Sunday night, it was far from a stellar, great performance. But what you guys have done is, because you were really looking at the end of the campaign and desperate and nervous, because he did step up with his ass on the line, you're giving him a much better grade than his actual performance really was. You've got a qualifier.
As the nerds say, he's being judged on a curve.
Right.
Well, maybe not. I don't know. That's right. But listen, to me, I was like at the end, I thought it was over before the debate. Afterwards, I was like, there's some life in this. We have a shot.
Come on, stop.
Anthony from Staten Island, you're on with Bernie and Sid on WABC. Good morning, Anthony.
Good morning, Sid. Good morning, Bernie.
Good morning.
Looking at this whole issue, this issue with Bill Clinton and Juanita Broaddrick and Catherine Willey have been going on for years. Everybody knows the answer and has an opinion about it. Either these women are liars or he's a rapist. So, guys, can you give me a straight answer? Are these women liars or is he a rapist?
It doesn't. Listen, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, because for the women it certainly matters.
I'll answer it.
If it was your daughter, if you knew the person.
Yeah, listen, I tend to usually side with the female here, but the problem is, in terms of the political race, which is what we're talking about, it's not helping Donald at this point. It's just not.
No, but that's not Anthony's question. And you're right. Maybe it may or may not be helping. I think it's helping. You may not think not. But the question in and of itself is Bill Clinton a rapist? Listen. We know that Bill Cosby, just by the sheer numbers of women that came out, the same thing with Bill Clinton. The sheer numbers.
It's not even close to numbers. Come on. It's like 100 to 4.
You have at least a dozen. So, I mean, where there's smoke.
That's not true.
The answer, Anthony, from me, is he a rapist? Yes.
I tend to side with the female. The numbers are not close. The Bill Cosby analogy is not even fair. There's not a dozen women who accuse him of rape. There's 3. Maybe 2, Juanita Broaddrick. There are others that said he took his penis out. That's not rape. He did some things that are nasty, but as far as I know, there's only one woman, Juanita Broaddrick, who said he raped me.
And there's one. Actually 2. And we know
it's not Bill Cosby.
The only reason we know, then nobody's going to videotape a rape. And the only reason we know that he did what he did to Monica Lewinsky in the Oval Office is because somebody saved a dress with semen on it. Yeah. Otherwise, you'd be saying, that never happened. That's nonsense. Stop. So I give the women the benefit of the doubt based on some of the evidence from some of the women and the preponderance of women that have come out.
That's fair.
And I would go to, let's see, Bill from Boston real quick. Bill, you're on with Bernie and Sid on WABC. Good morning, Bill.
Hey, I love you both. Sid, don't take this the wrong way, but November 9th, how do you take your crow? Do you put barbecue on it or what? Barbecue sauce or what?
I'm gonna be in Washington D.C. because my wife is being sworn into the Supreme Court the day before. I'm not going to celebrate, Bill, because quite frankly they're both losers, they're both awful candidates, and America loses no matter who wins. But if you really believe, Bill, that Donald Trump is going to win because you like him or you hate Hillary, it's beyond stupid.
Hey, Bill, how do you
beyond stupid?
By what route do you see Donald Trump winning in a month? Tell me.
All right, let me tell you. They've always talked about the silent majority. A lot of people, I don't believe these friggin' polls that they send out. First of all, a lot of people, they're afraid. They're not afraid, but they just, listen, why should I cause trouble? I'm for Trump. We cannot vote for this criminal.
Okay, so wait, Bill. I agree.
Bill's going the Brexit route. He's going the Brexit route.
No, Bill is right.
Which did happen in London.
There has been a stigmatization of Trump supporters and Trump himself and Trump supporters, and the numbers don't reflect the total support for Trump. I don't know if it's enough to overcome the deficit.
Of course it's not enough.
But it exists, Bill, so keep hope alive.
It may exist, but what's silly about that whole argument is a stigma for voting for Hillary, too, which you guys just completely leave out. There's a huge stigma. You're going to vote for that criminal? You're going to vote for that liar? Like you guys act like Donald Trump is the victim.
You could be an armed robber, or you can be a liar, but if you're a racist and a bigot, that's exponentially worse in our society. Is the way it's being portrayed.
Really?
And that's why
they're calling her a murderer, Bernard.
Right,
a murderer.
but even being a racist is even worse than being a murderer in this country. Yeah, well, that's the way it's come down.
The point is, both of them, nobody can walk in the street and go with any enthusiasm, I'm voting for Hillary and or I'm voting for Donald Trump and not get murdered. Nobody.
Bill, hey, Bill, thanks for the call.